I'm with Rodney Greene, the city clerk of the city of Evanston, and on election night, one of the big issues, of course, is how many people have already voted, especially those folks who have done absentee ballot voting. Tell me a little bit about what a person has to do to actually have an absentee ballot.
Yeah, basically what they have to do is they come in, they apply. We don't have the ballots there at the office, but they can pick up a form, that they fill out the form, they send it into David Orr's office, then they will mail a ballot to them. But we also have what you call walk-in personal absentee ballots, whether you can take your absentee ballot form, go ahead and in person and vote, and that's what we had some folk do at the city clerk's office and also down at David Orr's office, where you can fill out your absentee ballot there because you're not going to be there for election day, and they let you go ahead and vote. And
that closed on April 2nd, right?
Yes, it closed.
So all those votes are in. What was the rough total?
Well, for absentee, we had 482. For all early voters, we had a total of 1,400. Okay. So it was a pretty good turnout. And even with that, we had another 7 voters who did the grace period, where they didn't quite make the registration, so they had to go to the courthouse, register, and vote at the same time they registered.
Well, that's a good committed voter, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Tell me about, is there any way to get any information specifically about who's voting, or for instance, is it people who are going out of town? I mean, I assume there's a variety of different reasons.
Yes. Majority of the ones who were doing absentee voting were coming in saying that they weren't going to be here for the voting on that date. They didn't realize that they already made their vacation plans. Also, you know, their school is out for spring break. Right. And so a lot of folk were going out, so they were coming in. Either they were going out of town, they had a loved one who couldn't get to the polling, or they had someone in a nursing home who couldn't do the same thing. So they would get their absentee forms, and to go from that point. So it wasn't too many of them. Majority of the folk wanted to come in and get their vote in early. Yeah.
Is there any way of actually on the night of, or do these get calculated first or last, or is there any order?
No. Once all the votes go in, and I try to tell folk this too, your early vote is not going to be lost, but it will not be counted until the night of the election. Okay. So they're downtown, they're sitting there safely in a vault or somewhere where no one can get to them. But then on the night of the 7th, then all those votes be tallied together.
Now, you actually had a lot of absentee ballots for the presidential election. Tell me a little about that, because the reports were that people said it was a very good experience, that even though there were long lines in a lot of communities, Evanston moved very well. Oh, yeah,
well, it was my first time. I guess I got baptized because I came in after Mary Morris left, right in the midst of getting ready for an election. We did have quite a few folk at the last 3 or 4 days. The lines got so large that I rerouted them. They came in the door, they went up the steps onto the 2nd floor and around to the corner. So, but we never had anybody in there that longer than 2 hours. Everybody was pleased about it. We were very, very good in letting the handicapped go in first. And some parents who had real noisy kids, we let them go in, and everybody kind of enjoyed that. I went out and I made jokes with them to keep them happy, so we just had a good time.
Yeah, you had your own sense of community right within the Civic Center.
Yes, indeed. Had a great time, and no one really complained. Even the ones who came late, we said, oh no, you got to come back tomorrow. This was the last one. Okay, well, I'll be back here first thing in the morning. So we had no complaints. They just enjoyed it.
That's great. Is there any electronic part to the process, or is it all pretty much still paper and pencil?
No, right now we have a touch screen. Okay. But for those who don't like the touch screen, they still have the paper. But the basic thing is you get your little debit card like you go to the bank, you plug it into the machine, it'll come up on the screen, either English, Spanish, or Chinese. You have your 3 subjects, and then you can touch the screen to go and get your votes in. At the end of it, it will roll up. You can get a chance to look at everything you voted for. And if you want to change something, you can go back. But once you say, cast my ballot, then that goes into the machine, it rolls up on a roll, and then it becomes part of the legal parts.
All right, Rodney, hopefully by the magic of television, we'll be visiting you actually when you're in the midst of vote counting, but we'll find out more about that on election night.
Yes, indeed.
All right, thanks again for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.